So I'm going to do the first introduction because I actually hired this person in the channel. So no bias here, but Miles Walker, according to his bio, is an award-winning, I just joking, international sales and marketing professional. After 15 years of working with partners in London and Toronto, he joined Kaseya, and that's where I was at the time, bringing a wealth of international relationships building around the experience of being in the travel industry, actually. So he's based in Vancouver, where his career started in radio, and he spends his days mostly on the road. I was actually just in an event with him in Portland at a Robin Robbins event, and you can catch Miles posting all over LinkedIn. If you don't connect with him on LinkedIn, he's going to force you during his presentation to connect with him on LinkedIn. You'll see it coming up here in a second. But he's a great guy. He's an awesome speaker. So Miles, I'll hand things over to you.
Thanks so much, Matt. Thanks for that great introduction. And most of those awards are from family members to me as well. So just a little tidbit there. But let's get started. Got a lot to cover. We're talking secure payments today. So risk reduction and revenue generation program. Let's dive right in because we've only got 7 minutes. As Matt said, I'm not forcing you to join me on LinkedIn, but I like that I do post a lot of content you can use, you can repurpose, and nothing makes me happier when you post my content and then you actually get business from something that I put up. So that is great. So secure payments. Do you want the best prospecting tool since Dark Web ID? This is another one of our products, and it was known as one of the best prospecting tools for getting new business. And we might have one that's just as good, which is secure payments. Dark Web ID is our dark web monitoring and compromise alerting. And secure payments is something that you can use to win business and upsell existing business. So let's dive right in. First, I got to hit you with a little Macaulay Culkin, of course. And I want to give you a fact that will obviously shock you. So this is pretty crazy, but 73% of all organizations are still not PCI compliant, even if they think they are. Pretty scary stuff right there. So the reality is that 73% of downstream customers are not PCI compliant. And the thing is, most actually think that their MSP is keeping them PCI compliant, but they're actually not. So when we're talking about PCI compliance, everyone probably has a little bit of an idea about it. The payment card industry set up regulations in 2006 to ensure that the credit card industry is properly managing and securing customer data. And that doesn't matter if you're a small, a medium, or large scale business. Everyone has to fall in line. All businesses or service providers store, process, or transmit payment card data are required to comply with this data standard. PCI compliance is also one of the only forms of compliance where you can still operate as a business even if you're not following PCI compliance. Other forms, they're going to shut the business down. PCI compliance, they're just going to fine you constantly. So what are the hard facts about compliance? You could be fined upwards of $100,000 a month if you're not being compliant. This was a pretty scary number. The next one, only 26% of new media executives feel confident that their businesses are actually compliant. During the recent Verizon breach, they found out that none of the companies that were falling under the Verizon breach were compliant. And lastly, the average merchant at the time of data compromise wasn't compliant with 47% of PCI requirements. So that's just a little bit of background. So if we're talking about MSPs, MSPs exist for two reasons: support and secure their downstream customers, generate revenue to support business. And obviously, if you're supporting and securing their downstream customers, you're doing that through infrastructure, through managed support services, and cybersecurity and compliance. In 2019, on average, 45% of an MSP's downstream customers accepted electronic payments. Okay, so that was 2019. That was pre-COVID. That number jumped in 2022 up to 61%. And what we're seeing for 2023, those numbers are continuing to rise, getting close to 70%. So that is something that everyone should be thinking about. That's an increase of 35% just in a few years. And like I said, it's only rising. So more downstream customers are accepting electronic payments, which means they're going to have to fall under some type of PCI compliance. Like I said, today on average, 61% of an MSP's downstream customers accept electronic payments. So that's something to think about. All right. So when we're talking about secure payments, we like to say that this is kind of an MSP's blind spot. It's in their rearview mirror. They're probably not looking over their shoulder and noticing this, but this is something that they all think about, but whether they're actually acting on it. And that's where secure payments comes into play. When surveyed, most MSPs weren't 100% sure which of their downstream customers actually accepted electronic payments. Matt had mentioned earlier that we were together at an event in Portland, Oregon, and I said, "Can you raise your hand?" There's 41 MSPs in the room. I said, "If you know that your downstream customers are 100% PCI compliant, can you raise your hand?" And 2 of those 41 people raised their hands. So that means 39 MSPs weren't sure what their downstream customers were doing. And that's where the whole PCI compliance thing comes into play. When we're talking about PCI compliance, here's the 12 things that most MSPs cover as part of their managed service offering. And the 5 that are red are the ones that the downstream customers probably think that you're covering, but you might be, or you might not be, to be honest, which is pretty scary. As Michael Scott would say, yikes. And that's where secure payment comes into play. Obviously, whenever I can throw Dumb and Dumber in the mix, I will. So what secure payments does, empowers your MSP with a turnkey outsourced program that quickly identifies customers who are at risk. This is why we're saying, Dark Web ID was a great tool for prospecting. Secure payments might even be better. So it's an ongoing PCI compliant management and monitoring solution. So new customers and prospects are automatically audited and reviewed. So you can go into a business, maybe they already have an MSP they work with, and say, "Hey, do we want to do a PCI compliance test just to see if you guys are okay?" And they'll say, "Oh no, we're pretty good." And meanwhile, they're probably not. Lastly, we can help secure your downstream customer, and if necessary, provide an alternative to secure payment gateway solution. So it's a great solution to use to get new customers, because obviously you can go in and see if they're going to have issues with getting fined. And for your current existing customers, it's creating that visibility, creating that trust, and saving time and making money at the same time. So through visibility, gain valuable insights into the payment risk across your entire client base. Trust, strengthen your relationships with your customers. And lastly, most MSPs, they don't have that expertise or the time to audit the customers themselves. So let's take that out of your hands. Let us do that for you. Since we've launched this product, we're getting such great feedback because a lot of people love it for prospecting, and it's great to go in and secure those relationships with your existing clients. I've got about 20 seconds left, and I'll end on this quote. Only 29% of companies are compliant a year after validation, and many businesses check PCI compliance off their list, and then they stop worrying about it. And unfortunately, less than a third have actually maintained compliance a year later. Pretty scary stuff. Once again, if you want to connect up with me, I would love that. I'm right on the nose there on 7 minutes. Love doing these events, love doing the 7-minute pitches, and hopefully you can come join us in the breakout. We got a $150 Amazon voucher we're giving away. That's it for me.
Excellent, Miles. Thank you.